Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. At the moment, Ledger is having a winter 20% off sale on their Ledger Nano S Plus, their Ledger Nano X, and their Ledger Nano Ruby Duo, available for a limited time. While I do not work for Ledger, I am an affiliate, and I do have an affiliate link in the description below for those of you looking to secure your crypto. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. The age-old question has actually reappeared. And this is something that people used to kind of talk about more a very long it's not like 1,000 years, but like 3, 4, 5 years ago within the cryptocurrency space, we saw a couple of companies. Bakkt was kind of one of the larger ones, BAKKT, who years ago was trying to start the initiative of being able to use Bitcoin as a form of a payment method and or using Bitcoin at all. The idea was, if we build up the Lightning Network, of course, more people will be willing to use Bitcoin, and instantaneous transactions, low transaction fees, what have you. We saw, or finally remember the name, Overstock was the first company to accept Bitcoin. They did it on like the normal chain as opposed to any other type of layered solutions. But there was a huge problem in that a lot of people did not actually buy things on these websites. Why? It's not because Bitcoin does 3 transactions per second or people couldn't spell Lightning Network and therefore they couldn't use it. People are often quite reluctant to be able to even use their Bitcoin. You might have realized over the course of the last 2 years plus, a lot of the news that we keep getting and that we've gotten nearly every week or so is that while whales and everyday normal people are accumulating all the time, no one's really selling. The price movements that you typically see if there's a movement down in Bitcoin's price on any given day, it's people who are trading Bitcoin. If the price has gone up by 16,000, they may be trying to take profits, but then they quickly buy everything back up again, or actually more than they had before because of the profits that they made. Normal people in the cryptocurrency space aren't giving up their Bitcoin at all. The idea is that the narrative is currently, no one wants to be the pizza guy, the guy who spent 10,000 Bitcoin on 2 pizzas. That's now worth, I think, billions of dollars. You would be very, very sad. And 2, Bitcoin has this idea around it that at some point it is going to hit $250,000, $500,000, or $1 million. So even a lot of times when I talk about it on here, if you really drag the time frame out, if you say it's 2023 and Bitcoin's price is X and everyone's expecting Bitcoin's price to be this on the year 2024, 2025, I said before, where does that leave us for 2028, 2029? 2032, 2033, how high is the price going to be? It's expected to be over $1 million at that point. Where does that lead us for the year 2040, 2048? How high is Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin over $100 million per coin? And it's kind of one of those situations where you're like, well, I put X amount of money into the market. I wait 10 years and now I have essentially $100 million. You don't want to be like, yeah, I found a really cool pair of shoes that I stopped wearing after 6 months. Yeah, that's where all my Bitcoin went. So Michael Saylor recently went on to Twitter and was basically asking people like, what's your number? When do you plan on actually using your Bitcoin? Recently, Michael Saylor, the founder of MicroStrategy, the company that's buying up all the Bitcoin constantly, and he's kind of a Bitcoin maximalist at this point, took to social media to gauge the crypto community sentiment on the future price of Bitcoin. Saylor, who has transitioned from CEO to head of MicroStrategy, went on Twitter and said, how high will Bitcoin need to rise before you would consider selling a small portion of your Bitcoin? This question, aimed at understanding the threshold that might trigger selling decisions, garnered extensive attention with 122,000 people responding. That's insane. 122,839 people responded. The answers revealing the mindset of the Bitcoin community range from moderate to extremely bullish sentiments. The survey results painted a fascinating picture at the community's outlook. While a minority of respondents, around 18% and 14%, said that they plan on selling or getting rid of or relinquishing some of it between $250,000 and $500,000. A significant portion of the community leaned a lot higher. Notably, 36% of 122,000 people said they will not be getting rid of their Bitcoin until it's over $1 million, and or said that they will never be selling. Now, to understand the never selling portion of it, it's not that they would never ever sell their Bitcoin. It's that you would at some point begin to simply use your Bitcoin. We've seen, as I said before, a number of companies starting initiatives to allow people to be able to use their crypto. The idea is that in the future, I mean, we can already, with like jumps and hurdles, pay for everything with crypto. You have to find the right website. You have to find the right this. You have to get a gift card. But in the future, everything will be payable with crypto in some form. So at the $1 million point range, you've basically become a millionaire. And then at that point, you can kind of just you would be using fractions or portions of your Bitcoin. It has nothing to do with like selling your Bitcoin back onto the market. The idea of a $1 million Bitcoin is like other fiat currencies have actually like nearly half the planet has bent the knee at that point. And they're like, okay, we have to acquire and or use Bitcoin, highlighting a strong belief in Bitcoin's long-term value. Additionally, and this shocked me, 30% of people said that $100,000 is their selling point. Now, I'll say it this way, and it's not even about being nice. It's more of it is abundantly obvious that Bitcoin is going to go over $100,000. I don't know who needs to hear that, who is, clutching their pearls right now in shock. Bitcoin is going to go over $100,000. The fact that anyone would be willing to sell at that point, to me, almost seems like a joke or a little bit insane. Simply because you sell at 100K, it dips to 94, and then goes back up to 120,000 in like 7 or 8 days. So you've kind of gained nothing. It's, everyone has their selling number, their selling point. We're going to go over that sometime in the future as well. But to say like 100,000 is that's like saying Ethereum's previous all-time high was, I think, 4,800. That's like saying, well, like when Ethereum gets to 6,000, I'm done, I'm gone. And it's like, it's going up to 6,500. That 7,800 is happening for Ethereum. I dare not say 10, 12, 15,000, but I was quite shocked, like 30%. But I mean, this is also, these are the moments where the people who don't look further ahead extrapolate down the line to the 2032s and to the 2040s. I know it's a long time in the future, but time does continue. These people who don't look forward, they sell early. And then eventually at some point in the future, Bitcoin hits $500,000. And these are the people who get upset and go, well, why, I don't have, why don't I have enough? Why do they have so much? And it's like, well, you sold really, really, really early. Anyway, yeah, I was quite shocked at a lot of these numbers, especially 122,000 people. That's an extreme amount of number to actually answer a question. I think realistically, a lot of people would begin to get jittery around $250,000 to $500,000. But regardless of what happens, I kind of think this is going to be our last normal cycle. I think whatever ends up getting sold onto the market, if 93% of all Bitcoin is in the hands of the wealthy, I think any selling that happens now, especially if you open the doors to billions of other people through ETFs and other institutional and banking adoption. All that stuff that gets sold is just going to be gobbled up by these banks. And, I think this is our last normal cycle for kind of like normal people. I think after this, like, the cat's out of the bag. Everyone knows what crypto is. Everyone's buying it. And yeah, it's just a very interesting time in history. Like, we're witnessing history. It doesn't feel like it because we're currently like sitting here kind of absorbing it. But when you realize everything that's been going on and exactly how big all of this actually is. Yeah, that's the apparently people plan on selling at 100K, and the vast majority, I assume, is somewhere between 250 and 500, and a lot of people plan on waiting to over $1 million. That's the prices news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in extremely, geez Louise, popular news, Shibarium, the layer 2 network at the heart of the Shiba Inu ecosystem, has undergone its first hard fork to enhance burns and support a multiple token burn model. For those of you who were not here over the last like 9,000 years, Shiba Inu is a memified popular coin that gained popularity in 2021. 2022 was a little bit quiet for the coin, and now they've come ripping and roaring back. As far as I understand it, the huge narrative behind this coin has to do with burning the coin. As the coin supply is quite large, we tend to get daily or other daily every 2 days. That's not how you say it. Every 2 days, we get news that, what was it the other day? It was like a 6 million% burn or something nonsensical. They're trying to burn as many coins as possible to basically increase the price, to get it to be more popular, while also building layer 2 and layer 3 and layer this on top of it as well. Da Vinci, I don't know who am I supposed to know who that is? It just says Da Vinci. In a Discord update, shared resources and details for a smooth transition after the fork, encouraging relevant parties to align their Bohr Genesis with updated configurations from other instances. The development team shared an updated Genesis file and the necessary post-update command to ensure a seamless process. They sought cooperation from the community and yada, 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 so and so and so. Here's Da Vinci talking about the hard fork and when it happened. According to Da Vinci, the hard fork was to commence at block 100 and, nope, that's million, 1.96 million. The primary focus of the fork was a significant enhancement to the burning mechanism. A move aimed at, apparently they're going to start burning bone as well. So as you probably might have not imagined, they actually made other coins within their ecosystem. So you have the dog, which is Shiba Inu, and then there's a bone coin, there's a leash coin, and I think there's a fourth one, but I think that bone is kind of like the main focus on the actual layer 2 scaling solution. But this update fork is, I assume, meant to increase the burn on the main chain, but also to increase the burning mechanism for bone as well. Most bone holders welcome the development, contributing to the asset's deflation. Others are not as receptive. I don't think there's that many bone tokens, so maybe it's like a light burn. But I mean, everyone's kind of like on the burn game at this point. Ethereum burns tokens. Cardano, I believe, also has a burn mechanism. Binance Coin has a burn mechanism. XRP has a burn mechanism. Shiba Inu, Terra Luna Classic. I don't know about Stellar Lumens. I feel like they would, because all they did was copy XRP. I mean, yeah, I think that's at the moment all the coins that I can actually think of. So cool, wonderful. I was expecting more Shiba Inu burn news, and look at what we got for Christmas. So there was a hard fork, and now there's more stuff being burned than there ever was before. I assume by next summer they will have hopefully burned enough to get to their 1 cent target, because that's what the haps seems to be. That's the Shiba Inu news, and yeah, let's move on. Okay, I get it. All right, okay. In a bid to encourage the adoption of their newly launched Web3 wallet. Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange by trading volume, has unveiled a $500,000 airdrop of various cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Shiba Inu. So Binance took a slight hit around 2 or 3 weeks ago when the entire Changpeng Zhao thing ended up taking place. And for some reason, a lot of people began to move their money off of Binance as if Binance was Changpeng Zhao. But I think humans don't read it. They just kind of are always in a perpetual state of fear if they don't have enough knowledge. So I think a lot of people left the platform assuming that Binance itself was done. And that's why the brand new CEO was like, nope, we're not done. We're still doing the same thing. It's just Changpeng Zhao, who's in a bit of hot water at the moment. So in an effort to kind of encourage people to go back to their website, they're going to be launching an airdrop. It's a very cheesy way of doing it, but it does actually work. Other exchanges have done it before in the past. It's not like my favorite method to try and get, I would rather have never mind. I was going to say I'd rather have a better user interface or user experience, but a lot of people don't care. I've seen people using really crappy crypto exchanges just because they want to use something. So sure, why not? The announcement comes amidst a broader crypto rally, etc., etc. They said airdrop time. We're giving out $500,000 worth of crypto ranging from 1 Shiba Inu token to 1 Bitcoin. Even better, all you have to do is make a swap using your Binance Web3 wallet to qualify. So this is similar to what Coinbase has been doing. Coinbase has also been trying to get extra attention for their new wallet. We had news a day or two ago. Coinbase has... What were they doing with the wallet? I don't remember. Coinbase is doing something with their wallet. Yeah. Coinbase integrated their wallet into WhatsApp, Telegram, and so you can send a text to these platforms and then go onto the other Coinbase wallet to be able to send money, as opposed to just doing all of that within the Coinbase wallet app because they're trying to get more people. So Binance is also trying to do the exact same thing. Everyone is talking about Web3 and Web3 wallets once again. The idea basically being like a one-stop shop for everything that you need in the cryptocurrency world. But the problem is Web3 is supposed to be decentralized and open and for everyone. And a lot of these Web3 wallets are heavily centralized and they're collecting data. So it's there are other methods, but of course the big companies are trying to get you to use their things. I hope eventually get to a proper decentralized Web3 world, but so many companies, not even just Binance, all of them, everyone keeps throwing the term Web3 into things as a way to signify that we're in the future and this is how things are going to be. So cool. They're having an airdrop. If you get 1 Shiba Inu token, that's actually a little bit sad, but there's also 1 Bitcoin up for grabs as well. So that's the Binance is basically trying to get more people back onto their platform since everything happened a couple weeks ago news. And yeah, let's move on. In probably the most popular news story that we've ever gotten on this planet, according to Bloomberg, the trading platform known as Robinhood, which allows cryptocurrency transactions along stock transactions, has launched their cryptocurrency trading application within Europe. For those of you who were not here a couple of years ago, I still don't get it. Maybe it's because I'm not there. I honestly don't get it. We had news a number of years ago that Robinhood was thinking of getting into cryptocurrencies, and everyone completely lost their minds. And we had a lot of times where let's say people, a new coin came out, it became really popular, and people were like, hey, Coinbase, you should list Shiba Inu. Hey, Binance, we want Shiba Inu on Binance. Hey, Kraken, it kept on going. And then at some point when Robinhood would announce that they were launching a coin or listing a coin, the price would go up by 38%. And I was like, It's just Robinhood. And it happened dozens of times. Someone explained to me that apparently Robinhood is incredibly popular within the States, but so's Binance, so's Coinbase, so's Kraken. So I just logically assumed that crypto exchanges that have higher volume than Robinhood would have produced more monies. But no, apparently it was all Robinhood. So now Robinhood has announced that they are moving into Europe or trying to get access to the European market. And this was, of course, incredibly popular news because for some reason this app is like the hottest thing on the planet and there's no other way to be able to buy or use crypto except for Robinhood. Oh, wait, that was a lie. Did you hear the tone of my voice? I know I'm very monotone, but there's other places I don't really. Following its successful entry into the stock market in the United Kingdom, the platform will now offer access to more than 25 altcoins, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, being on the list as well. The company's strategic expansion comes right after the recent surge in crypto prices. I don't really see a list anywhere. It says Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then there's a photo of someone holding a phone that says Robinhood. Johan Kerbrat, general manager of Robinhood, mentioned in an interview with Bloomberg that the application's launch will be accompanied by a loyalty program in a cashback style, which we also don't hear about that much anymore. This program will enhance the user experience by crediting a certain percentage of each user's monthly trading volume in Bitcoin and encourage customer loyalty to the platform. This is similar to what, not Coinbase, PayPal. What PayPal did in the very early days, for those of you who don't remember PayPal in the early days, you could share your PayPal link, and every time that someone new signed on, you would get $5 for it. There were a lot of other companies a long time ago, no, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago in the cryptocurrency space as well, who did like cashback. So if you were using, I believe, what are they called? The Gemini twins, or like there was one other crypto exchange who did the exact same thing. If you were using their Visa or MasterCard or debit or credit card and you were spending your crypto on purchases, it was like a cashback of like, I think it would round up. So if it was 97 cents, you would get 3 cents back in Bitcoin as well. But once again, not many people have been using their crypto to buy anything. Like there, of course, which shocked me a while ago, there of course are people who actually use Bitcoin on a daily basis, like daily. They shop at certain stores, go to restaurants and cafes and live their life a very like Bitcoin centric way, like using Lightning to tap their phone everywhere. But the vast majority of people aren't doing that. So they're trying to get like this, if you use us, you get Bitcoin cash back, as opposed to being like, you didn't have to use your Bitcoin in the first place. You could have just used cash, dollar, euro, or the yen. So yay! Robinhood has officially moved into Europe. This is far more popular than I would have assumed. It's very similar to like all the other weird news that we get in the crypto space. So if my assumption is correct, I assume that Robinhood news years ago was very popular because they're based in the US. So now that they're in Europe, will this also be as popular? Because, I mean, any new coin that would get listed on there would essentially skyrocket because of news like this. So, fantasticals. That's the Robinhood is now available in Europe news. And yeah, let's move on. In probably completely unsurprising news, and it makes me very sad that the world is actually this corrupt. So back in 2017, that time frame keeps coming back up. By the end of the year, Bitcoin was like at $17,000, $18,000. Everyone's completely losing their minds. And a lot of countries around the world began to quickly realize that crypto was a thing. We heard a lot of times from a lot of people that Bitcoin was nonsense, it was garbage. And then we started hearing from all these people that they had secretly been in crypto since around 2014 and how amazing Bitcoin was, yada, yada, yada. A lot of countries came forward talking about they were going to ban cryptocurrencies. Russia was one of them. I believe Philippines and Thailand. Japan also wasn't too happy with it. I think because of what they were saying, like basically people were using crypto without relaying the transactions to the Japanese government, and they thought that people were laundering money. Same exact thing happened in South Korea. I forgot what happened there, but something similar also happened. There were a couple of places. Oh, yeah, also, who were talking about banning it, and mainly India was like at the forefront. India was like, we need to get this under control. We're thinking of banning it. And over the course of the next 2 years, an actual 2-year period until around mid-2019, they kept on announcing every 2 months, we're banning crypto. Crypto is now banned in India. And 2 months later, they would say, nope, there is no ban. We don't know where people got that from, but we are going to make cryptocurrency regulations. 2 months later, this is the worst thing we've ever seen. We need to ban it. There's so many criminals using it. Crypto's now banned in India. 2 months later, no, there's no, and this kept on going on. And I mean, I made videos about it years ago as well, where like I had a compilation video. It was like 35 minutes long, where I showed everyone every 2 months how this kept on happening over and over. I believe it was just some good old fashioned price manipulation on their part, because they're probably also buying up tons of Bitcoin. If they're not, then I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with their economy. But since then, around 2021, we had news that they were finally going to regulate crypto. You might remember the news that Coinbase had set up an office in India, as did Kraken. I think the Gemini twins were trying to get paperwork done, and Binance also announced that they would also be working in India as well. The idea being, India is huge. India has a population of 1.5 something billion people. They are the most populous country on the planet. They have far outsurpassed China, and they're expected to become like a world global dominating power at some point, sometime in the future, simply because of their gigantic workforce. Part of the problem is that India's economy is poo-poo. Like, it's really bad. Like, it's not even like top. Like, the expectation is that because of the amount of workers that they have, the amount of that they'll be able to produce is quite large. However, due to accusations over decades of like high levels of corruption, the country gets far but doesn't really get that much farther than it possibly should have previously been before. Weird sentence, I know, but that's the idea. So one of the things behind it was that if you allow 1.5 billion people on the planet to be able to get into crypto, realistically, maybe less than 10% would get into the market. That equates to still over 100 million people, which is staggering, who would enter the market in a legal manner. Part of the also problem is that the Indian government over the last like 4 or 5 years has been trying to launch their own central bank digital currency and discourage people within the country from actually using cryptocurrencies. That is to say, a couple of years ago, they got rid of some of their larger notes. I don't know how, like what the number was on them, like they're like paper notes, their money. They got rid of a lot of them because they said people were using them to launder. Like, and I watched a documentary on it. It wasn't like, hours long, but it was like 40 minutes. And they were saying that there are a lot of merchants in India who simply don't have access to like the internet, or they don't have access to like a smartphone, or even people who are like in their 50s and 60s who were like, I don't need one or use one. They use cash. So the idea was that a lot of these people who literally have like huts on the side of the road selling stuff like in their own town, that these are the people who are responsible for trillions of dollars worth of money being laundered. And it's like, no, that's a lie. So they announced that we're getting rid of their larger bills, like I think overnight. And then they said we're going to start making everything a lot more digital. But their idea of digitizing everything kind of came in the form of a central bank digital currency. Now, at the same exact time, this boosted up hope that if you are launching a central bank digital currency and therefore going to have it on a blockchain or something similar and or digital, that it would also kind of have a cryptocurrency regulation balled into that entire law as well. We heard at the beginning of this year, a lot of you might remember this was around January or February, the Indian government announced that they were going to have cryptocurrency regulations, same exact time that Hong Kong also said they would also have cryptocurrency regulations. In January to June, we saw that Hong Kong actually had cryptocurrency regulations. Companies have begun to move into Hong Kong. They're going to be making a lot of money as the cryptocurrency market continues to go up. India went silent, and around October, there was a bill that was supposed to go through Parliament, and it did not transpire. It was not there. People looked through all the paperwork, and it was never, ever even mentioned. So this is where it currently leads us right now. These people have basically been lying for a very long time because I think that they know they must. If you get into a situation where a large number of people are making below whatever their minimum wage is, And also the middle class also isn't so middle comparative to a lot of other places. If you tell these people that there's a market that they can get into legally, especially around this time frame, and I'm going to tell you why a lot of this is very, very corrupt when you hear the actual time frame that they're giving for a lot of this stuff is. If you tell these people that they can get into this brand new market, you tell 1.5 billion people, you only have less than 10% who get into it. You have 100 million people who get into the market, and these people put money into the market and they basically 40, 50x their money. More money than they would have made over the course of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 year period. They're going to tell their friends, look at how much money I made, more than my yearly wage 5 times over from this amount of money that I put in. What do you think happens to the rest of society? Everyone loses their mind, and they also begin to push tons of money into this market as well. At that point, you have around a good 18 to 20% of people who are then using it, and more people push their money into the market. What happens to the country? What happens to the fiat currency? What happens to the power of the people who are actually printing and making the money and keeping everyone else under control, because he who prints the money controls the population? India is unlikely to bring a crypto or a Web3 specific legislative bill anytime soon, and won't do so until perhaps the middle of 2025. What happens in the middle of 2025 to the end of 2025? Can anyone tell me? The cryptocurrency market is expected to reach its peak. The timing is spectacular. They announced earlier this year that there would be a legalization of crypto, of course, very stringent in its own way. But now there will be nothing, so that people within India will have to see the entire bull market pass them by, and at the point where the crypto market should be reaching its crescendo and potentially falling down, no one knows what this cycle is going to be like. That's when a bill may actually enter parliament. The levels of corruption are staggering, like all across the world, but this one is like very intensely blatant. This was said by one of India's senior politicians who oversees the financial evolution of the nation and is doing a terrible job, might I add. Jayant Sinha, chair of the Standing Committee on Finance in India's parliament, and a minister of parliament from the ruling party, was answering a question during a CoinDesk interview at India Blockchain Week in Bengaluru, about when India could see a Web3 specific bill. He said, regulators and policymakers are responsible not just on the innovation side, which of course we want to encourage, which is a lie, but also on the safety side. We have to really find that balance, and that balance is going to evolve over the next 12 to 18 months. 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's a very long amount of time to say that we don't want to actually have this in our country. Anyway, the article continues to go on, and I don't really feel like reading much more, simply because it'll only further frustrate me to constantly have to see this going over on and on. I would rather them, and I'll say this completely honestly, I would rather that they just simply had said that they were going to ban it in 2018. I think it would have done a lot of people a lot better. Part of the problem is that India is experiencing a very massive, what they call a brain drain. So a large amount of people from India who are very skilled, who are very talented, intelligent, they're leaving the country, like en masse. A large portion of them, I don't know how often a lot of you keep up with, like, probably not. You might have noticed a lot of people within Canada are now from India. Same exact thing with other places around Europe. And I think there are a couple of other countries who have like basically made it a lot easier for people specifically from India to move to their country, their continent, their whatever. It's because these people are incredibly intelligent, and they're very smart, and they're good with computers, and they know all these things. They're very good at making money. So I've heard from a lot of people who I know who are also from India. They're like, I'd be making 1/80th of what I'm currently making right now if I was in India. Why would I stay there? So I'm not sure what they think they're doing by trying to tell people you have to wait another 12 to 18 months, and that's still a maybe. Because we've heard this before. We've literally had situations where they said in the next month, this bill is going to pass by Parliament, and then never ever happened. So huge disappointment. I have always wanted everyone around the world to have like proper access to crypto and to be able to get into the space, of course, in a legal manner, as that's the world that we currently live in now. But imagine the difference in the path of life that these people would have if you allowed 1.5 billion people to gain access to a decentralized, open and fair system. But that's also the problem. You don't want these people to have access to a system that's not your own, that's already crumbling and has failed them. So you do everything that you can to make sure that they stay within essentially your borders, under your control, because heaven forbid, should you allow 1.5 billion people access to something that would completely change their lives. Yeah, what a world we live in. I do sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See